is my body. The branches my arms. The herbs that I grow protects your body from harm. My chlorophyll is the green that you see on my leaves. It is used to produce all the air that you breathe. When the sun is too bright, I provide you a shade. And the wood from my tree is how shelters are made. My skin is the bark. My veins are the roots. If you allow me to grow, I'll produce all your fruits. My father is the sun. The earth is my mother. The land is her body. And the ground that I cover. I also have fun. I like being free. I play with the children when they're climbing my tree.
Mother Earth is a planet, and so are you. You're her offspring. You resemble her in more ways than you know. Beneath the surface of the ground provides a home for the worms and maggots. Your skin is the ground of your body. Beneath your skin lies worms and maggots. To be more clear, if you were to dig up a grave from 100 years ago and open the coffin, the skin of that body turned into dirt. Inside of the dirt is worms and maggots. The earth is made of iron and minerals, along with the inside of your body. Osane is the tree that grows from the ground. As you grew up, you also grew from the ground. As a tree is cut down to the stump, you'll see that it has a unique print that cannot be duplicated. That print shares no identity with no other tree. Open the palm of your hands and look at your fingerprints. Your fingerprints cannot be duplicated. Not even your offspring can duplicate your fingerprints. The same as the stump of the tree. Your fingerprints don't share the same identity with any other human. A tree has roots. Your roots are your hair. A tree has vines. Your vines are your veins. The bark is what covers the body of that tree. Your biggest organ is your skin, and that covers the body of your flesh. As you can see, you and a tree have a lot in common. A tree grows fruits that's filled with seeds, and those seeds can potentially grow more trees that bear more fruit. Your fruit are your children. Your son have the ability to produce seeds, and your daughter have the ability to grow seeds to produce more human/trees. Trees grow to be different sizes, shapes, and colors. There are also certain trees that only grow in certain climates, but won't survive in others. We also share the same qualities. We grow to be different shapes, sizes, and colors also. As humans, we're born in certain climates, but won't survive in others without certain vaccinations and medications before traveling there. A tree requires food, water, and sunlight to preserve its health, the same way that you do. Osane can also be very territorial. As trees are removed to build certain structures, Osane is not always pleased and will make his presence known. Anytime a fence is built, you'll notice how new trees love to pick the area right next to the fence. If it just happens to be a chain link fence, notice how the vines will grow between the mesh of the fence. Notice how the vines of the tree can consume a structure of a house when it's not maintained. If someone was stepping on your property, you would make your presence known. Humans will go to war to protect their territory. So why would Osane not do the same thing? Our families from all generations, what do we call it? A family tree. I'm sure we all heard the example of the people in your life being leaves, branches, and roots. Leaves are the ones that don't stay with you. When the wind blows, they blow with it. As the seasons change, so do they. In the beginning, when everything is great, their color is bright green, but as the seasons change, they lose their color and die out. Branches are the ones that trick you the most. Branches are strong, so you'll think that they're solid until they become hollow and break off. Then there's the roots, the most important one. The roots are loyal. They help you grow and become the tree that you are. Roots also shares your experience and know what you've been through and are a part of your growth. Now that you become one with the Osane within you, ask yourself, where are you planting your tree? Is the environment a good one or a bad one? No matter if the environment is good or bad, that tree will still grow. So let's get into the leaves, the branches, and the roots first. Then we'll get more into the environment of where you plant your tree. We'll start off with leaves. Let's say you're in a relationship with someone you thought were your soulmate. In the beginning, everything is perfect. The two of you become inseparable. The happiness you shared with that person was the greatest experience you ever had up to that point. That is the moment when a leaf is at its greenest. You begin to feel as if nothing could go wrong. Your trust starts to grow for that leaf. Since that leaf is so high on your tree, you become comfortable. You begin to believe that since the leaf sits so high on your tree, nothing can tear it off. Then comes the change of the seasons. As time goes on, things start to change. Everyone who was happy for you, they no longer care. The energy that the relationship was experienced has now died out. Now the relationship is starting to go through problems and tests. The leaf is no longer green, it's now orange. The two of you feel that the relationship is starting to die out, but you try to convince yourselves that it's not. The two of you have started to become more distant. As time now passes, your person is secretly starting to imagine themselves with other people. Now the leaf has turned yellow. Deep down inside, you feel something isn't right, but you're still not sure. Your person is now flirting with others and embracing compliments. Even though your person hasn't made any move, you suspect something isn't right. You find yourself playing detective. Then the day finally comes to where your person has now opened the door with another person and is slowly closing the door on you. Now the leaf is brown. Your person has a new attitude. The things you do that annoy them now no longer affects them. They become more distant and their attention seems to be elsewhere. Then that person breaks off the relationship with you. That's when the wind came and blew the leaf off the tree. As the leaf hits the ground, notice how it has no life. That's the same life that was sucked out of your relationship. If you step on it, it crumbles. The green on a leaf is the chlorophyll that creates oxygen. Compare that to the leaf that now lays on the ground. It's dead, lifeless, and no longer breathing. Now we're going to get into branches. Let's say you started a cleaning business. You are the owner of the company. You hire 3 employees to help you with the cleaning. Just like with almost any story, everything is always great in the beginning. The business is doing well and everything is working out smoothly. Those 3 employees are your tree branches. Your tree branches are connected to you tightly as the company grows. Now that your company is becoming more known, someone that has more capital than you has decided to take your idea and start their own independent cleaning company. This company approaches branch number 1 and offers them a job in their company. Branch number 1 is offered a little bit more money if they were to leave your company and join their company. Branch number 1 accepted the offer. Branch number 1 has been removed from your tree. The other company tore the branch off and removed it. Branch number 2 has started to become lazy. Branch number 2 has showed up late for work and doing the bare minimum on the job. Branch number 2 has started missing days but is always present on payday. Then the day comes where branch number 2 never returned. That branch became hollow and fell off your tree on its own. Branch number 3 is your best worker. Branch number 3 is dependable, hardworking, and always keeps a positive attitude. Branch number 3 just one day happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. He was involved in a terrible car accident that wasn't his fault. As a result, branch number 3 has become paralyzed from the waist down. Branch number 3 is no longer able to work at your company. Branch number 3 was removed from your tree by a natural disaster. Lightning struck that branch down. As a tree, you'll produce more branches. So that means that you can always hire more employees to replace the ones that are no longer with you. Now we're going to get into roots. Let's say you grew up in poverty. You never had much, but you made do with what you had. You and your best friend always had talks and dreams about one day things will be different. Your best friend grew up with you and knows you better than anyone else. The two of you work together at the same factory. One day your boss calls you in the office to discuss something. He tells you how much he's impressed by your work. He's offering you a supervisor position, making more money than you ever seen in your life. You begin to get excited and start pinching yourself to make sure you're not dreaming. Then he tells you the job is in another city and you'll have to relocate. That's the moment your excitement started to lower. If you accepted the position, the relocation will take place in the next 2 months. Your mixed feelings are starting to show, so he tells you he'll give you 1 week to think about it. After work, your best friend can see how depressed you look, no matter how much you try to hide it. So you explain your situation. Then you tell your best friend that you're really considering not taking the position. You don't want to leave them or the life you always knew behind. Then your friend goes off on you and immediately starts yelling at you. Your best friend tells you that you have a chance to better your life and you need to do it. Your friend then reminds you of the struggles you faced growing up and that this is the one chance to remove yourself from poverty. Your friend is telling you what you need to hear and not what you want to hear. 2 months pass and you relocate and adapt to your new life. You and your best friend keep in touch by phone and social media. Within 3 years, you've been promoted to a higher position and your best friend has been promoted also, but remains at the same location. Your best friend was the root that helped you grow. Without their words of encouragement, you would have remained stuck in the same place. Now let's get into tree environments. You are the tree, and depending on where you plant yourself, you'll grow in that environment. So let's go over an example of 2 different environments, the good and the bad. Let's say you were blessed with book smarts and street smarts. You're the smartest person in the classroom, but also a silverback in the concrete jungle. For anyone that's not in the US, the concrete jungle means the hood. You're an honor student, but yet no stranger to a jail cell. Exactly 4 days after you graduated high school, you and 2 other friends attempted to steal a car. The police were alerted. Once y'all knew they recognized the stolen vehicle, you and your friends tried to flee. Y'all quickly abandoned the car and took off on foot. Your friends got away, but unfortunately, you got caught. As you're serving your time in jail, you constantly thinking about what you will do upon your release. Just like SU with the crossroads, you know you have a decision to make. You now have to decide where you'll plant yourself once you're released. You're a very smart person, so you can survive in the good or bad environment. So let's go over both. Let's start off with the bad environment. You're now released, and the first place you go is right back to the concrete jungle / the hood. You plant yourself by immediately going back to the same bad influence friends of yours. They celebrate your release as they show their gratitude towards you for doing the honorable thing by not snitching. Y'all spent the rest of the night celebrating, but by the next morning, it was all back to business. For the next 2 years, business was great. All you now think about is how your criminal empire makes way more money than the job would ever pay you. You, being the smartest person in the crew, decided to graduate from stealing cars to now carjacking. Y'all went from crowbars and hot wiring cars to using guns and sticking up people at gunpoint. The process was faster and efficient, but yet it was risky. After 7 successful carjackings, y'all made a big mistake and carjacked an undercover police officer. Y'all had no idea that his car had a GPS tracker. The police were able to track you down quickly, and since you had guns, they came with plenty of backup. You decided you weren't going back to jail, so you took your chances taking the police on a high-speed chase. Trying everything you can to lose the police, you entered the highway driving in the wrong direction. You lose control and drive straight into an 18-wheeler tractor and trailer. Needless to say that none of you survived. Planting your tree in a bad environment results in you growing into making worse decisions. You've experienced much success when you were stealing cars. As you grew, you went from stealing parked cars to jacking people at gunpoint for their cars. The final results of planting your tree in a bad environment is having your tree chopped down by an 18-wheeler tractor and trailer. Now let's get into good environment. Let's rewind back to your release from jail. Now let's say you decided to leave your area and move in with your aunt who lives 847 miles away. The environment is much more different than you're used to. You now planted yourself into more greener pastures versus the concrete jungle. Your aunt's husband is a small-time booking agent and he wants to teach you the business. Never once does he bring up the fact that you were just released from jail. Instead, he takes a different approach and points out how brilliant you are. Up to that point in your life, you were used to people telling you that you probably would never amount to anything. This man who owes you nothing shows you your own potential that you weren't aware of. Being planted in this environment is already helping you grow. You take him up on his offer and join the business with him. With his knowledge for the business and your ability to communicate and connect with people, the two of you took the business to another level. With your youth and his experience, the business grew larger than expected. And now, 4 years later, you have published your first book titled From Behind Bars to Beyond Stars. You explained in the book how you went straight to jail after graduating high school, and now you're a top booking agent for talented stars. The good thing about the Osane energy within you is no matter how bad your environment is, you can always tear down that tree and replant it in another environment. Always keep in mind that no matter what environment you plant your tree in, it will grow and adapt to that environment, no matter if it's good or bad.